In the depths of human experience, we encounter people whose presence feels like poison, a slow and corrosive force that eats away at our peace, our joy, our inner equilibrium. These individuals, whether driven by malice, ignorance, or the depths of their own suffering, are what we might call toxic. They challenge us, they test us, and they often leave behind scars on our souls if we allow them to. But as we walk the path of Stoicism, we are reminded that the power of these toxic people is an illusion. It is not their actions, their words, or their presence that truly disturbs our inner peace. It is our reaction to them, our judgments, and the value we place on external matters. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the heart of Stoicism, the unwavering belief that we control how we respond to the world, and nothing more. Toxic people may shout, insult, manipulate, or deceive, but in the end, we are free. Free to choose how we respond. Free to master ourselves. This is not a passive withdrawal or retreat into silence. It is the assertion of true power, the power of self-control and inner strength, the strength that no toxic person can take from us. The myth of the external enemy. We often speak of toxic people as if they are external enemies, forces we must confront, outwit, or avoid. But the true Stoic recognizes that the enemy is not out there. The enemy is within. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and philosopher, wisely wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The toxic person, then, is not a villain we must defeat, but a test, a challenge placed before us to strengthen our inner fortitude. They are an opportunity to practice the very virtues Stoicism prizes: patience, resilience, and emotional control. Toxicity, in whatever form it takes, is a reminder of our own weakness, the emotional hooks we allow others to place within us. When we react in anger, frustration, or despair, we reveal that we have ceded control over our own emotions. And here lies the Stoic's task, to reclaim that control. The toxic person is a mirror, showing us where we are still vulnerable to the whims of external forces. Each harsh word they speak, each manipulative action they take, is a chance for us to become stronger. A true Stoic does not fear this test, they embrace it. For within it lies the path to inner peace. Emotions, the unseen chains. One of the greatest challenges in dealing with toxic people is the emotions they stir within us. Anger, resentment, hatred, these emotions feel natural when we are wronged. But the Stoic recognizes that these feelings are not a sign of strength, but of weakness. To be controlled by our emotions is to be a slave, not to the toxic person, but to ourselves. Seneca, the great Roman Stoic, wrote, "Anger, an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured." When we allow toxic people to ignite our anger, we are the ones who suffer. Our peace, our clarity of mind, and our ability to think rationally are consumed by the flames of emotion. The first step in overcoming toxic people is, therefore, to master our emotions. This is no easy task. It requires a deep and ongoing practice of self-awareness, of catching the sparks of anger before they grow into a fire. It requires a commitment to the Stoic practice of reflecting on our emotions daily, asking ourselves, what have I allowed to disturb my peace today? What external force have I given power over me? In this practice, we find freedom. Toxic people may continue to speak their venom, but it does not reach us. We are unmoved. For we have mastered the one thing that truly matters, ourselves. Toxicity as a teacher. In this journey, we must change our perspective on toxic people. They are no longer threats, but teachers. For what greater test of virtue is there than to remain calm in the face of insult? To maintain kindness in the presence of cruelty? To uphold our principles even when we are surrounded by dishonor? In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. The toxic person is not our enemy, but a guide. They show us where our weaknesses lie, where we are still vulnerable to anger, pride, or fear. They give us the opportunity to practice the highest Stoic virtues, compassion, understanding, and above all, control over our own minds. Imagine the toxic person as a storm, a violent force that swirls around us. The weak are blown away, lost in the chaos. But the Stoic stands firm, grounded in their principles, unshaken by the winds. This is the essence of Stoic strength, not to fight the storm, but to remain unmoved by it. The toxic person, like the storm, will pass. But we, if we practice virtue, will remain. The importance of indifference. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the concept of apatheia, a state of being where one is indifferent to external events, where one's inner peace is not disturbed by the chaos of the world. This does not mean we are numb, uncaring, or detached. It means we have a clear understanding of what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus, in his Enchiridion, tells us, some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. The actions of toxic people are not up to us. We cannot control their behavior, their words, or their choices. But we can control how we respond. We can choose to remain indifferent to their provocations, recognizing that their toxicity is not a reflection of us, but of their own inner turmoil. This practice of indifference is not cold-heartedness. It is wisdom. It is the recognition that the world is full of chaos, and that we cannot allow every external event to shake our inner peace. Toxic people will always exist, but they do not have the power to disturb us unless we give them that power. Setting boundaries, the Stoic way. However, indifference does not mean passivity. It does not mean allowing toxic people to walk all over us or to continue harming us. The Stoic recognizes that self-control also means setting boundaries, protecting our peace, and maintaining a life aligned with virtue. Seneca, in his letters, often spoke of the importance of choosing one's company wisely. He advised his friend Lucilius, avoid those who are always critical, for their soul is like a disease, and it is contagious. The toxic person, if left unchecked, can spread their negativity, their anger, their chaos into our own lives. We must, therefore, be willing to walk away when necessary. This is not an act of weakness or fear, but of strength. We are not running from the toxic person, we are protecting our inner peace. We are choosing to surround ourselves with those who uplift us, who inspire us to live in accordance with virtue. But even in setting boundaries, the Stoic remains compassionate. We do not hate the toxic person, for hatred is another form of emotional slavery. We simply recognize that their path is not aligned with ours, and we move forward without malice. The final lesson, inner fortitude. At the heart of Stoicism lies a simple truth: we are responsible for our own souls. Toxic people may come and go, but they cannot touch the core of who we are unless we allow them to. Our peace, our strength, our virtue, these are the only things that matter. And they are within our control. Marcus Aurelius, in his final years, wrote these words of wisdom: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The toxic person is not a roadblock in our lives. They are the path. They are the test that makes us stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Each encounter with a toxic person is an opportunity to practice what we have learned, to deepen our commitment to Stoic virtue, and to strengthen our mastery over ourselves. We are not victims of toxic people. We are not at the mercy of their words or actions. We are Stoics, followers of a philosophy that teaches us the greatest power lies within. Toxic people may continue to cross our paths, but they are powerless against the fortress we build within our own minds. Conclusion: walking the Stoic path together. In the end, the Stoic approach to handling toxic people is not about them at all. It is about us. It is about who we choose to be, how we choose to live, and the strength we cultivate within. Toxic people are merely another challenge on the road to self-mastery. They remind us that the real battle is always within. As we walk this path together, let us remember the words of Epictetus: "No man is free who is not master of himself." Toxic people cannot enslave us unless we allow them to. Let us master ourselves, and in doing so, let us find the true freedom that Stoicism promises. We are Stoics. We are strong. We are free. Let the toxic people come, they cannot touch what is eternal within us.